Greetings, listener. Wait. Hold. I really didn't expect this to be a two-parter. Oops, all necromancers.
Welcome back to the table, everyone. I am your DM, Oz the Great and Powerful, and with me are Bug,
Finnie, Satyr Druid. My best friend is a decaying rat corpse.
C,
Madam L, half-elf bard, needs a day off.
and Bree.
Sorrin Doll, Hobgoblin Necromancers, spell component, boner juice.
That tasty, tasty boner juice. So, let's recap what happened last time in Helvettyr. Sorrin renegotiated for a slightly less cruel contract, met a questionably sexual lizard, and got a sick new tat. Meanwhile, Madame L went home, was promptly told she was no longer welcome at home, then found her mom's lute and sheet music. Good news, Sorrin and Madame L are level 2. Bad news, Madame L's mom is probably definitely for sure dead. And Finnie, well, this episode is Finnie's episode, so let's get into it.
Hello? Matilda? Anyone?
You see one of the shades on an upper window slide to the side for a second and see a distinct eye staring down at you, and then it slides back over, and then about 30 seconds later, the door is opened a crack, and Matilda goes, "Oh, Sorrin, come on in,"
Thank you.
and undoes the chain, opens the door, shuts it behind you, closes it back up, and goes back up the stairs.
Oh, okay. Good morning.
Yeah, it's morning, all right.
I don't know if he would go up to Madame L's room or if he would just sit in the empty bar and wait. I think he would probably just sit in the empty bar and wait.
As you sit down, Finnie pops out from behind the bar. Hi!
Lord have...
Good morning!
Hi, Finnie. Good morning. And I guess I, take my hand off of the dagger on the back of my belt.
Yes?
Finnie? Is Madame L here?
I think at this point, Madam L will kind of meander down the stairs. She was probably having trouble sleeping anyway, and she'll come down the stairs in her nightgown and say, "Maddie, what's... Oh, hello, Mr. Sorrin."
Good morning, Madame L. I guess I just kind of look around the bar like, I don't know if I'm supposed to say something else. Finnie's here.
Finnegan, did you... Did you sleep under the bar?
I mean, yeah?
There's an empty room upstairs.
Not cozy enough.
Wallace nods in agreement.
Too big.
Wallace looks at you, Finnie, and then looks back at you, Madame L, and then just sort of shrugs.
So, how is everyone today?
Lavinia's heart clears its throat awkwardly.
Also, by the way, I look awful. I already had, like, pretty dark circles under my eyes. It's like, cavernous. I do not look well.
I would stipulate that Madam L is in a similar state.
Finnie looks normal. So does Wallace.
He slept inside a building tonight, or last night. Very good.
That's true.
I'll put on some coffee for all of us.
That would be appreciated, thank you. We have, business to attend to today, do we not?
Well, is it the fantasy weekend?
Yes.
Okay.
It's fantasy Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.
Oh no, Sundays always feel so weird.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're going to have a weird time today. What can I say?
That's true.
I don't know how to refer to this because it's very well not Sunday.
Greg's Day.
No, I mean, it'd just be the weekend.
Okay.
I mean, things would be a bit different for, well, all of you except for Sorrin,
9 to 5 grind.
basically, whereas Madame L is just sort of a as-needed basis,
yeah.
and Finnie is a street urchin.
My brain just went Madam L girl boss. What the fuck?
Anyway, to answer Soren's question, Madame L says, well, usually on the weekend I just kind of lounge about the Green Fairy and accept clients as they come and go, but I must say that I really don't feel like doing so today, so I was going to take the day off.
Well, actually, I was gonna ask both of you if you could do something with me. And Finnie just looks at you guys expectantly.
That really depends.
Well, I felt really bad about
Lavinia.
I felt really bad about this lady. I can't remember her name.
Oh fuck, Lagunia.
Wallace chitters her name to you.
Linguini.
Linguini. You're gonna kill us again, see, you can't. You simply cannot.
Linguini Vanderplume.
No. I felt really bad about Lavinia, and I still have her heart. And I know of a good place that we could give it the respect I think it deserves. And I wanted you guys to come with me. And you can also meet my family.
Wallace nods somberly and then chitters excitedly.
Ooh, I'm actually pretty interested in meeting Finnie's family, because that's a pretty big mystery. I'm like, okay, what's the deal with this kid?
Madame L cringes at the word family and then says,
Oh yeah, same.
well, I am not doing anything else today, so sure, Finnegan.
This isn't going to be. I kind of shoot Madame L a look real quick and then look back at Finnie. A dangerous situation, is it?
No, not at all. It's the safest place you can go, especially here in this town. I mean, it's kind of in the town. It's kind of. You'll find out.
Okay. Safe does sound rather appealing.
Very cozy, very comfortable. 100% best place you'll ever go.
Okay, well then, I don't see how I could possibly refuse.
No, you can't.
Wallace holds up one little paw and does sort of the back and forth hand motion, be like, yeah, maybe not the greatest.
Well, I just have to get ready and I'll be right down.
Understood. Thank you.
And an hour later, Madame L appears, her usual self again, all done up and in fancy clothes.
Wallace is on the bar, tapping his wrist and then pointing at you, Madame L.
Probably the whole time I was sort of like, just kind of observing Wallace and taking notes.
And in turn, Wallace was observing you. And not taking notes because Wallace can't read.
I think Finnie was just watching this exchange happen, just smiling and nodding his head.
Perfectly normal.
But yeah, you guys are set up. You're good to go.
Oh, yeah, I'm ready. I'll show you how to get there. It's kind of, well, I don't know if you're going to like it, but I promise, where we're going is worth it. And Finnie runs off out the door.
Finnegan! Finnegan, wait!
Finnie, you dash from the Green Ferry, leading Madame L and Sorrin, and pop open the nearest manhole, leaping into the sewers without a second glance your way. You follow a path that perhaps only you know, avoiding the worst of the muck and mess sluicing past, Wallace riding on your shoulder and chittering at his passing brethren. You reach a crumbling section of brick wall and pass through the adjoining wall into a disused section of the catacombs, following your own hoofprints in the moist soil before finally popping out of a small tunnel into an open grave. A familiar breeze rustles the treetops as you breathe deep the sense of home. Grave dirt, rot, and the subtle whiff of animal musk long past. Sitting on the stone at the head of this grave is Licorice, a perfectly preserved black cat with a silken ribbon around her neck, blind eyes looking at you expectantly. And so Licorice looks at you, Finnie, and goes, "Oh, Finnegan, you're home and you've brought guests."
Yeah, they're my new friends. Oh yeah, my manners. Where are my manners? Madam L's teaching me manners. Mom, this is Madam L and Sorrin. Sorrin, Madam L, this is my mom.
I'm like, I did not enjoy that sewer experience, to say the least.
There's some grime in places where you'd really rather it not be.
As you say this, Madam L is, what's the, like, we came in through an open grave. Like, how does that work? Is there like a
hole in the
just
ground?
a hole? I guess Madam L is like struggling out of this hole as you're saying this.
Yeah, it's a hole connecting to the bottom of the grave, like where the foot of the grave would be. Finnie found it, expanded it, found a way into the city, that kind of deal. So yeah, you had to basically crawl through, most likely arms in front of you, to make a smaller profile to get through this hole.
No, absolutely not.
Finnie just sort of, arms tucked to his sides, just sort of wormed his way through it. Presumably, this is how he gets in and out every time,
I think
problem.
Madam L is coming up last. So I think Licorice said those things before Madam L could see what was happening. And so she's going to look up and around and say, Finnegan, who said that?
That would be me, dear. Madam L, I presume?
Madam L, do you need, a hand?
Yeah, she'll grab your hand to get helped up and then kind of lean in close and say, Mr. Sorrin, the cat is talking.
That is a very astute observation, Madam L. I am indeed speaking.
Finnie nods his head vigorously, and I think Wallace does too, on his shoulder.
I don't know how much you know of feline biology, Madam L, but our ears are quite sensitive.
Ah, right.
But forgive me, where are my manners? Could I interest you in some tea, or perhaps meat, or what is it that you two legs like? Perhaps first we can start with assisting you out of this grave. Albert, if you could. And you hear some shuffling noises behind you, and then just sort of this low growling noise.
Oh, I turn around. I have a knife in my hand.
And there is a large owlbear holding one paw out down to you, just sort of crouching near the grave.
Finnegan?
Yes.
So when we discussed this, trip, you said, safe.
Yeah, this is my family. I told you I would introduce you to my family.
Okay, just trying to parse everything that is occurring. Can I cast Detect Magic real quick?
Absolutely.
Okay. For the duration, you sense the presence of magic within 30 feet of you. If you sense magic in this way, you can use your action to see a faint aura around any visible creature or object in the area that bears magic, and you learn its school of magic, if any. The spell can penetrate most barriers, but it is blocked by 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, a thin sheet of lead, or 3 feet of wood or dirt.
These are indeed magical beings. The school of magic being necromancy.
Ooh, spicy.
Is animating them.
Okay.
There's the owlbear. There is, just on the edges of your perception, something maybe about 2.5, 3 feet tall that is moving your way, and then there is Licorice.
Okay. I guess that sort of tracks. Okay. Just, I think I left my manners in the tiny hole we just crawled through. Hello. I'm Sorrin. As, Finnie said, it's a, pleasure to meet you. How do you exist?
Master Sorn, of course. I'm sure that I have enough manners for the both of us. That is quite the question. I think that I exist much in the same way you do from day to day. Though perhaps if you have a better insight, you could share with us. Of course, Albert would be glad to help you out of the hole, and perhaps we could have this discussion over something a little more civil instead of in an open grave.
Madame L kind of bumps Mr. Sorrin and like jerks her head up to insist that he go first.
Okay. Certainly. Albert, was it? Okay. And I guess I, like, really hesitantly, like, reach my hand out. I am shaking so bad. Getting here was the worst. But yeah, I extend my hand to let Albert help me out.
A cold and dusty paw with surprisingly gentle talons grips your wrist and easily hauls you out of the hole.
Thank you very much, Albert.
Albert nods and goes, "Hur," and then sits on his haunches. Oh, and then reaches back down into the hole for the other two.
Madam L, I think it's fine.
Well, Finnie just leaps up onto the back of Albert.
Oh yeah, Finnie can just fucking jump. I forget that you got fucking hops.
Yeah, Finnie jumps up, leaps onto the back of Albert, and gives him a big hug and says, "Hi, missed ya," and then jumps off.
Seeing that Sorrin was safe, Madame L will accept the assistance out of the open grave.
Albert gives you a hand up and then looks off to the left, and approaching is a smallish dog. Medium-sized dog. How big are these dogs, Bug?
I think they're
Airedale
decent
Terriers,
size.
they're-
Let me double check.
Terriers aren't usually huge.
Well,
but
these ones are the
Yeah, but I think these are big
larger
boys.
size.
It's a deep cut for terrier fans.
Yeah, I'd say they're
Oh.
like medium size. They go up to people's like waist. They were used in World War II, I believe, to detect bombs.
Dog facts.
Bum dog. Anyway, one of them bad boys approaches you wearing a slightly askew captain's hat with a pipe in its, I almost said beak. Dogs don't have beaks. In its mouth, and looks at the two of you and then looks at Finnie and goes,
Finnegan, would you care to perhaps introduce me to your friends?
Oh, yeah. So this is my grandpa, or Captain. He likes other people to call him Captain. I'm the only one who can call him Grandpa.
Please call me Cap'n.
And these are my...
Cappen. Cap'n.
And these are my friends. This is Madame L, and this is Sorrin.
I guess I salute. I don't know what I'm doing. I guess I salute. Sorrin is like, this is the, like, he's not good in any social situations, and this one is just, like, untenable. So I guess he's just like, I guess I salute.
"This dog also salutes you." Ah, a military man. I see. I don't know what that was, but that's the fucking accent.
Don't even worry about it.
It's fine. We'll have to put a disclaimer at the start of this episode of sorry to any and everyone British.
We're really, truly sorry. We tried and we just can't.
My uncouth Midwestern tongue just cannot conquer anything other than sounding vaguely like Fable and or Shrek.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Captain.
Mr. Sorrin, the pleasure is all mine.
Madame L will kind of awkwardly curtsy.
And Captain looks your way, and dogs can't curtsy, but does sort of that legs forward stretch thing,
Oh, adorable.
like kind of a little bow. Ah, yes. A lady of Quass. Good to meet you. And Licorice jumps slightly down from the grave and pads over and goes,
Now, Finnegan, why don't we go to your home and I'll see about fetching us something to eat?
That sounds great. Yeah. Oh, gosh, I'm so excited to show you. I want to show you where I sleep. It's so cool and comfortable. You guys are going to be so impressed. I really believe it.
Oh, okay.
Come on. And Finnie starts running.
Can I, sort of, scope out this whole area?
yes, I was going to describe it for you guys as you go from a grave that is at basically the very back of the cemetery towards the center, where there's, sort of a groundskeeper's hut.
Okay.
There are a variety of different sort of burial stones about, from simple grave markers up to obelisks, and there is a massive statue of... Why don't you give me an Arcana check? Any who are interested.
I got a 1.
I got a 12 plus 5, 17.
I got a 15.
Finnie, maybe you've just sort of... Well, you live here, but maybe one of your family just happens to know what this creature is, or maybe you've seen, it passing on a sign in Helvettyr or something. But you know that this is a chimera. It is a giant statue of a 3-headed beastie with a snake for a tail, giant bat wings, body of a lion, that kind of deal. Got the head of a lion, a goat, and a dragon. And then there's just some obelisks and what have you. And also towards the center, there is a mausoleum. And as you pass, you see engraved on top of it is the name Albert, as in Owlbert. And you realize that's probably your owlbear friend. Well, acquaintance for the two of you, but brother for Finnie. But yeah, it's not a huge cemetery. It's probably about, 150, 200 feet diameter, sort of circular, surrounded by, woods, and the perimeter is sort of demarcated by wrought iron fencing that you can just sort of see is rusted and a bit warped. Looks like a pretty old place. As you pass gravestones, you see that some of them towards the center are several hundred years old. The newest one was the one that you guys came out of, and it is 150 years old, based on the life and death dates listed. But pretty old cemetery. But yeah, and the center is just a small groundskeeper's hut, shack. Shack is probably a better term. Sort of got a thatch roof to it, made up of solid timbers, but fairly old, lot of nicks and things, and just sort of ran down from existing for quite a while.
So we can't see the city at all?
Yeah, that was going to be my question.
No. The period of time in which you traveled was quite a while. This is outside the city limits. You can see the Abyssin Spire in the distance, and maybe a little bit of the walls around the Abyssin district. But yeah, you guys are pretty far out.
Okay.
You went through a lot of catacomb.
Sorrin probably, finds that relatively comforting, actually.
Told you, safe and comfy.
Is there any stigma for, being outside of the city?
Yeah, I would say that travel out of the city is limited. As far as, traders who travel about would have some sort of license, essentially, to enter, and then the same thing would work for exiting. But, your standard... I don't know that I'd even say citizen, but peasant.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna be able to go in and out.
Okay.
Not with ease. So something like this would be the information to the right or wrong people would be quite valuable.
Yeah.
Because this is a way basically into, well, through the sewer system and stuff, wherever you want in the city from outside of it.
Sorrin's not thinking like that. He was reborn in the horrible tiny tunnel where he thought he was gonna die.
Another point of interest is quick guesstimate of about 300 feet above the cemetery is some sort of large bird circling.
Oh.
Oh.
You're not quite certain, but it looks like it has 2 heads.
Can I scope that, please?
Mm-hmm.
The scoping. Oh, I got a fucking 3 on the dice. Plus 5. So that's going to be an 8 Arcana.
I'll roll as well. Yeah, I just got a 3. I got like a 6, so yeah.
Finnie knows exactly
It's-
what that is.
Some sort of flying creature.
Okay.
And,
Is that another one of your friends, Finnie, please?
Oh,
Tell me that's a friend.
Yeah.
and Licorice goes,
Oh, I'm sorry. Agnissaman is currently on the hunt. I'm sure that they'll be down with us soon.
For, hunting what?
Well, whatever they can find. Meat, typically.
Can I talk to you for a second, Finnie, please?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay. We don't need to be worried, right?
No, I told you this is my family.
I know they're your family, but they're not. And just because they're important to you and you're important to them doesn't mean they care a one whit about us.
They care about what I care about. That's how it is here. I promise. Trust me. Just trust me.
And I think Wallace is on my shoulder, nodding his head vigorously.
Well, Finnie, see, here's the situation. Last time someone said, "Oh, trust me. Oh, I have a plan. It's fine. Don't worry about it." We were stuck in a house. You almost died.
But it wasn't me.
hey, Sorrin,
Yeah?
give me a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, fuck shit ass. That's a 5 on the dice. Plus a 3, that's an A, and then 8. An 8 dexterity saving throw.
You hear a and are splashed with gore
Oh.
as the corpse of an elk lands next to you. And you see a dark shadow that's circling above you get larger and larger.
Oh, I am pulling out I daggers both hands, don't care.
Finnie's doing a little hopping dance, saying,
Dinner. Oh, yeah, big dinner. Woohoo.
And as you look up, you see a 2-headed vulture that, as it lands next to you, you realize is about 6.5 foot tall. And one head and neck is almost completely skeletal. And you see where there should be bone, instead there is porcelain.
Oh.
The other head is perfectly preserved, but has just sort of those dull, lifeless eyes. And the porcelain head keeps a lookout and just sort of is scanning the area, while the other turns to you and goes, I brought meat.
Woohoo. Big dinner.
I died in that hole. I died in the hole.
You like meat, 2 legs?
Sure. Why not? I'm dead anyway. Don't even worry about it.
You know how to cook 2 legs?
Not really, no.
That's fine. I like it raw. And promptly, the preserved head dips down into the broken ribcage of this elk and rips out some intestine and just sort of slurps it back.
Sorrin sits down.
I think from this.
No, he probably lays down.
Sorry. I always feel weird. I always see these cinematic shots. I think from the side or from behind Madame L and Licorice, we see this scene. And Madame L is kind of standing awkwardly next to Licorice. And she says, "My lady Licorice, what a colorful family you have."
Oh, that Agnissaman. They always like to make an entrance.
So are we right next to the shack?
Yes.
Okay.
You guys pulled off to the side to talk while presumably your other animal family members went to set things up for tea? Meat tea? And Agnesaman is currently sort of slurping down bits of elk, which you do in fact see are just sort of then falling through a hole in their rib cage. Because once again, dead, but
Finnie yells, "Hey, save some for me!"
yeah, you'll get your meat.
You're always like this.
And the porcelain head just turns and stares at Finnie.
I think Finnie then turns to Madam L and gestures to Sorrin to get off of the ground and says,
Okay, well, I want to show you my room.
I don't... Finnie, I'm not sure why I'm talking to you because I'm almost certain none of this is real.
Oh, I promise. I promise it is.
Oh, it's very real, 2 legs.
Okay, yep, I'm in hell. I've died and I'm in hell.
Trust me. Sorrin, is it? If you were dead, well, then I'd have 2 meals, wouldn't I? I think that Albert comes over and just sort of very gently grabs you by the collar with his beak and just starts dragging you towards the hut.
Okay.
And sort of lifts a paw and gently pats you on the shoulder as he's dragging you towards the hut. And just...
I think Finnie follows Albert and Sorrin being dragged and then looks at Madam L to follow.
Oh, yes, I think we all follow.
Sorrin is like completely limp.
Just a baby in the arms of this owlbear.
Yeah.
So you go inside, and surprisingly enough, there is in fact an antique porcelain tea set out with some sort of steaming liquid in the cups. And Licorice turns to you and goes,
Oh, Finnegan, is Master Sorrin quite all right?
She became slightly British, and I don't know what happened.
He keeps saying he's dead, but I guess I don't think he knows what death is.
Oh, trust me, Finnie. Oh, I do.
Master Sorrin, I don't think you're dead. I mean, look at you. Your eyes haven't even... Well, they have glazed over, but...
Finnie shakes his head and goes,
Well, I'm going to show you my room anyways.
and so Finnie, in this pretty small sized shack, I'd say, starts pointing to various places. First, I think he points to a small sized coffin on the ground, filled with leaves, and says,
This is my bed. I found it here a long time ago when I was little, and it's very comfortable. It has a lid, and I do use it, but sometimes it's scary, so I don't use it all the time because it gets really very dark. And over here is the part of the floor that is broken, and so it's just dirt. And sometimes I see cool bugs there. It's very nice, and I like it. And over on this side is the part of the floor where I light fires. And I put a little hole in the roof so that the smoke can come out. And it's kind of fancy, don't you think? And here is my table. And it's not really a table, it's actually a box. A wooden box. But it works as a table. And, yeah, that's my room.
and I think looking around, it is kind of covered in cobwebs and moss and just decaying wood, really. But it is cozy
There are
looking.
some mushrooms growing in the corner.
Oh, absolutely.
Bits of broken bones just sort of strewn about, you know.
You just have to do whatever makes you happy, Finnie.
Finnie looks at Madam L expectantly.
Finnegan, what are these little white things over here on the shelf?
Oh, those are teeth.
Oh,
Yeah, I find them around sometimes. I think they're really pretty, and I can't, have jewels or anything, so that's the next best thing. Am I right? Totally.
beauty is in the eye of the beholder, I suppose.
Quite right, Madam L. Now, young Finnegan, if you could please have a seat, and we'll have some tea, and perhaps you can tell us all of what you've been up to.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And then Finnie sits down and Wallace is on his shoulder. And I think Finnie sips his tea and then brings it up to his shoulder so Wallace can have a sip. And then it falls out of Wallace's stomach and onto his shoulder, and his shoulder is wet.
Oh, I should also mention that the porcelain head of Agnissiman is poking through the hole in the roof.
Oh, God. Okay, Agnissiman, okay, so Bree thinks Agnissiman is the fucking sickest fucking shit ever.
Sorrin's having a bad time with it.
Uh-huh.
Typically, undead birds are trying to rip your guts out, so
Yeah.
understandable.
Yeah, Soren's just gonna look at the coffin and, look at Finnie and, everybody sitting down and just look at the coffin and climb in it and lay down. I guess I'll put the lid on top.
Yeah, Madam L will sit down and sample the tea.
It tastes vaguely bitter and kind of savory, a bit like mushroom broth, but a bit bitter. And Licorice goes,
Are you enjoying the tea, Madam L?
Why, yes, Lady Licorice. What kind of blend is this exactly?
It is portobello and bone meal, a favorite of ours.
It has a certain je ne sais quoi. It fits the aesthetic just perfectly.
Yes, I'm glad you enjoy it. I'll let you in a little secret, Madam L. There's also just a hint of psilocybin.
Was Finnie gonna try to recount the night?
Oh, yeah.
you either can or we can hand wave it. It's up to you.
Yeah, I feel like it should just kind of be one of those things where I say, and Finnie then explains what happened.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's a lot. So yeah. So then Finnie, oh, I feel weird saying it now because I said that I was going to say it and now I'm saying it.
That'll happen.
So then Finnie kind of over-exaggeratingly explains what happened at the manor with the ghosts and the skulk and everything, and wildly uses arm gestures to explain everything that happened. And I think Wallace kind of mimics him while it's going on.
And as you're telling the story, anytime you talk about like fighting or stealing something or potentially getting into some sort of tussle, Cap'n cheers at that because, you know, that's exciting, that's fun. And whenever you tell the story of, you know, these children who are without their mother now and how she passed and everything like that, Albert sort of pats you gently, like sort of a, yeah, that sucks. Agnissiman just sort of watches silently. And when you mention the heart, the head that's peering through the roof just sort of pokes in a little closer. Licorice sort of gently tuts whenever you talk about stealing something and getting in trouble with the guards. And once you are done retelling what's going on and how things are and the whole fam's caught up, Licorice goes,
Albert, if you could please go and dig a grave for the dear departed Lavinia, and we can perform a funeral forthright.
and Albert just sort of looks at you guys and nods and leaves through the door. And Agnissiman goes, right, better put on my preaching gear. And the head withdraws from the hole.
What does that mean?
So I think after hearing the story and seeing Licorice kind of organize the funeral for Lavinia, Madame L will turn to Licorice and say, Lady Licorice, while we wait for the funerary preparations, I'm quite interested to know how this place came to be.
Oh, yeah. You hear a little wood scuffle.
Thank you, Master Sorrin. I regret to inform you that it is in fact quite rude to try and communicate with others while you have a coffin lid over your head. Madam L, I don't exactly know where I should begin. Well, I suppose I should start perhaps 13, 14 years ago?
How old are you, Finnie?
13.
Gotcha.
Oh, I'm starting to clamber out. I'm popping my head out of that hole.
Finnie's sitting down, and he's got his head in his hands with his elbows leaning on the box table, and he's like,
Oh, yeah, I love this story.
You see, before, I don't recall much other than being alive and some young child's pet, but about 13 years ago, there was some sort of something, and on the day that Finnegan was gifted to us, I was reborn, as were the others who reside here. But as far as why or how, I surely wouldn't know.
I'm taking notes. A little pen going scritchity, scritchity, scritchity. If I may, Licorice, you appear to maintain all of your faculties.
I would say that I maintain even more faculties in death than I did in life, Master Sorrin, but yes.
Of course, this is extremely atypical.
Is it? I surely wouldn't know, but if you say so.
This is all I've ever known.
I will tell you, Finnie, from personal experience, this is not the standard presentation of undeath. Your family would not be your family, I guess, is what I'm implying.
Well, I can tell you for sure, none of them are evil.
Agni goes, I might be.
He's not evil, he's just edgy.
I guess I'm still addressing Licorice here. You don't have any impulses, destructive impulses to consume the flesh of the living, none to sow strife, none to torment the living? Nothing?
Well, ideally, Master Sorrin, I would help the living as I have done with young Finnegan, but no, I don't believe I have any evil impulses. I sometimes chase Wallace around as, it's kind of fun for me, it's fun for him. He was buried next to me in my grave. I think it's some sort of morbid burial practice as perhaps a treat in the afterlife, or I'm really not certain what was going through my owner's mind, but no. In short, no, I do not generally want to devour, I guess in my case it would be other cats.
I furrow my brow, I'm still taking notes.
And Captain goes, well, I simply wouldn't know where to start with devouring another of my kind. Licorice then goes on to say, but I have put together a few things that may be of interest to you. Those of us who were closest physically as far as location to Finnegan whenever he arrived here seem to be the most cognizant. There are, of course, many graves here, and as you can see, there are only a few of us who have taken an interest in Finnegan, but there are others, but they are closer in death to what they were in life. But I've no idea why we are what we are. And you feel a presence behind you, and a voice goes, right then. And you turn and look and see that Agnisamin is wearing not one, but two little, priest collars.
as well as a necklace that goes around both necks with a single medallion on it, upon which is engraved a mini-armed spiral. Right then, about ready for the funeral to start.
And so I think Finnie looks at Madame L and Licorice and Captain and Albert and Sorrin and nods his head, and then out of a pocket inside his capelet, he takes out the heart wrapped in a ragged cloth he found somewhere, and nods his head and walks out the door.
And Licorice says, well, I guess we should follow. And primly walks out the door after Finnegan.
Strut.
Madame L follows in a line behind Licorice.
Got a little funeral procession going.
So you guys are gathered around a open hole, and in front of this grave is, of course, crouched Agnessemen, who just sort of, both heads looking around, goes, right then, would any of you like to say a few words?
Lavinia Vanderplume, in the brief period of time in which I knew her during her undeath, was incredibly hostile, and well, she tried to kill all of us, but she did so for the sake of her children. And for that, I do believe she ought to be admired and remembered.
Lavinia Vanderplume, I never knew you in life, but even in your undeath, you still wanted to care for your children. And for what it's worth, I swear on my soul, I will send Tybalt Vanderplume to the deepest, darkest, loneliest pit of the abyss, where you can flens his soul to ribbons and burn him in eternal torment.
I guess I step back.
And Agnessemen goes, oh, I like this one.
Oh, no.
I think Finnie then, with Wallace on his shoulder, steps up and says,
Well, you did try and kill me. And you almost did kill me. But I met your kids. And they're my friends now. And I made sure that they knew that you loved them. I'm sorry there wasn't anything we could do to help you. But I hope you can find peace here with my family.
And Agnessemen looks about and just sort of nods at Albert, who, waddles forward and gets ready to start shoveling the dirt back in over the hole, and goes, friends, family, we are gathered here today to send off poor Lavinia. May she find peace. May the spoil claim her as one of its own. May her mortal shell become one with the lands that birthed it, and feed new life. May she find the path in death that leads back to life. May she one day return to us. And bows both of their heads. And you hear a couple howls out in the woods around, as well as just general animal noisery, as it seems as if the entire woods and cemetery mourn the passing of Lavinia.
I'm gonna cast, not targeted at anyone, but I'll cast Toll the Dead as like a little send-off.
And the clap of your powerful bell alerts the entire city of Helvettyr, and they rain terrible hellfire down on you. The end. Agnessemen looks around and goes, right, who's ready for lunch?
Finnie looks up at Agnessemen with a tear rolling down his cheek and says,
I think I am.
And Wallace pulls out a very tiny hanky and dabs at your tear. It's very cute. But yeah, Madame L and Sorrin, you after the funeral, you guys sort of part ways with Finnie. Maybe you have other things to do. Madame L most likely getting cleaned up and relaxing on this weekend, and Sorrin probably, I don't know, parsing what he's dealt with at this cemetery.
Having an existential meltdown.
And after they have made their way back through the hole, most likely with a little pushing assistance from Albert for Madame L's bustle, Licorice turns to you, Finnie, and goes, "Now, young Finnegan, I believe it is time that we progress your training a little bit. It sounds like you are getting into somewhat dangerous hijinks, I would say."
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm getting older, and, I think that's just what cool kids do when they're older.
And Captain goes,
Well, Licorice, he's just a rough and tumble lad like I was.
and Licorice, my God, it's myself talking to myself for the second time in this entire podcast, turns to Captain and goes,
Regardless, Captain, if he's going to be getting into this sort of trouble, he should know how to defend himself.
and Captain just sort of harumph, walks away, chewing on his pipe, and Licorice turns and goes,
Albert, perhaps you and Finnegan could have, what are the children referring to it these days? A good old-fashioned wrestling match?
and Albert looks between Licorice and you, Finnie, and then back at Licorice and back to you and goes, and nods vigorously, and just sort of squares up sumo style, like lifts onto his hind paws and thumps his feet. And
Licorice goes, Fantastic. Finnegan, if you'd like to ready yourself.
Oh, boy.
and let's go ahead and roll some initiative. Just you
Finnie,
and Albert.
Scoots Wallace away.
And says, I don't think you want to be a part of this.
And Wallace just sort of chitters and crosses his front little paws together and
Lifts his nose up like, meh.
I rolled a 21.
boy howdy, you blew Albert out of the water. So we are essentially going to be doing
God.
opposing strength checks.
Oh, no.
Because it's wrestling. We'll do, it'll be quick. We'll say best of 5. Essentially, the first one will be to grapple, but the others, you could potentially substitute your dexterity for your strength if you are, for example, trying to flip around Albert to pin him or something along those lines. So you're not going to be completely screwed.
Okay, because I have a -1 strength.
I know, but yeah. So, you go first, and we will say, because there's not exactly rules for wrestling matches, and also how initiative would play into that. So we'll say because you have the higher initiative, you will get advantage on the first turn.
Okay. Just roll a d20?
Yep.
Alrighty.
Remember, roll twice, take the better result.
Oof. Plus, you said, was it dexterity or strength?
Strength for the first round.
Okay. Well, I got an 8.
Well, see, so here's the thing is Albert rolled a 19, and spoilers, something that's bear-sized has a strength of 20, which means that Albert got a 24.
Great.
So he's got you, and you're grappled, but we've got a couple more rounds to go. So this next turn, you can either try and force the grapple so you are winning, or you can try and slip out using your acrobatics or, move around, that sort of deal.
Okay.
So second round, he's just going to maintain and try and go for the pin. He got a 10 total, 5 on the dice plus his 5. So go ahead and do your dexterity or acrobatics or what have you. We're sort of playing Calvin ball with this.
I just
because
rolled a nat 20.
very nice. So
I'm
he
wiggling.
goes for the, yeah, I'd say he goes for the pin, and you just, as he tries to sort of body slam you down, you go down hooves first, and kind of flip over him while holding him by the shoulders, and now have him in sort of a like backbreaking maneuver where you're back to back, but you're arching. You know the wrestling moves. I'm describing this very poorly.
While I do it, I say, sorry, it's part of the game. Sorry.
And he grumbles in a what the hell sort of way. All right, so it's now 1-1. Let's go round 3.
Plus strength, 9.
So good news. He got a 1 on the die,
Oh.
which is a crit fail. Which a crit fail on a grapple check typically just means you don't hold it. But because you had already had this pinning position, that is 2 successes for you. So essentially you need 3. You've got a 2 count so far. So this next round might determine it.
Woohoo!
So you have suplexed this owlbear who's just sort of flailing his back legs in the air as you sort of have him pinned to the ground.
I think my hooves are dug deep into the dirt, and I'm gritting my teeth.
And let's give it a go again.
All right. It's a 10.
Well, Albert got a 17 total. So I think he finally realizes that maybe trying to push off of, the air to break free is not working, and just sort of flops his nearly 1,500 pounds to the side and breaks out of your grapple. And
Whoa!
I think just slaps one big paw on your head
Whoa!
and sort of palms you to the ground.
Dang it!
And let's see if he can maintain this grapple.
15.
15. All right. He got a 13 on die. 18 total. So he's able to just sort of maintain, and you happen to peek up while he's pinning you to the ground with one paw. And he just sort of raises the other paw and taps it in front of his beak like he's yawning.
Hey! I'm strong too! And Finnie kicks his hooves in the air. I'm strong!
So it is neck and neck at this point. You have had 3 successes, right? So 3. Arbitrarily, this one's for all the marbles. So final check. Let's see how it goes.
14.
Albert got a 22. And I think at this point, he just sort of flops bodily on top of you and just sort of lays there stretched out, kind of like some sort of owlbear skin rug, and just sort of,
Come on!
Makes a yawning face again. And then Licorice goes, Albert, I think that's quite enough grandstanding. And he goes, and then just sort of rolls off of you and then pats you gently on the head and then sits down, and Licorice goes, You did well, young Finnegan, but I think perhaps we could work on your fisticuffs.
What do you want? I mean, I'm just a little guy.
It's my birthday!
Come on, I'm just a little guy. It's my birthday. Come on. Well, perhaps some meditation with Agnesseman will help focus you and connect you with your body.
My body.
She looks up, and Agnesseman at this point has gone back to sort of soaring above the graveyard and circling, just sort of keeping an eye out. And she goes, Agni, if you could come down here, please. And you see just sort of starts to circle faster and faster and lands in a puff of feathers in front of you and goes, Right. And Licorice goes, Would you be a dear and assist young Finnegan in his meditation? And Agnesseman goes, Right. Come on then, little one. And just sort of stalks off to his obelisk, which is the grave marker for his grave.
Finnie kind of like a child who does not want to do something, kind of stomps over there.
And as he's perched on top of his obelisk, he looks down and goes, "Right then, it's time for your meditation. Look deep inside you, little one. Find where your strength comes from.
Ah.
No sighing."
Agnesman lifts up onto one leg and just sort of spreads wings, and each head just sort of looks up and then to the side and goes,
My owner used to do this sort of pose and do some breathing, but, well, I don't breathe anymore. You get the idea. Do some breathing. Balance. Center yourself.
and the heads just sort of start to hum in a kind of two-tone way, harmonizing with each other. This, of course, is basically the only time the porcelain head makes any sort of noise. And Agnesman just sort of,
What a noise. Wow.
and after about 10 minutes, he goes,
Right. Your balance is all right. Your harmonization's off. You seem kind of centered.
I mean, it's hard to balance on my hooves like this. It's muddy.
Yeah, well, me mother always said I was Port Flamingo. Well, that's my work for the day.
and flaps off from his obelisk and goes back to circling. And Licorice approaches and goes, well, how did the meditation go, Finnegan?
I guess it went all right. He said I was kind of balanced.
Well, why don't we have some tea and talk?
Okay, that sounds nice.
She saunters off back to the hut, and by the time you get in, you see that from a dark corner of the hut, Licorice was sort of scrabbling in it, and she comes back with a fairly large amount of mushroom and drops it into the teapot and goes, Finnegan, why don't you be a dear and get the water boiling for our tea?
Okay.
And Finnie casts Produce Flame on the water.
Good. Now, we're going to try a different brew and see if perhaps it, well, resonates a bit more with you. I expect that your friends would be far more interested in this specific type of mushroom, but I do apologize. I didn't think that it was my place to share it with them.
What kind of mushroom?
Well, as far as I can tell, Finnegan, it is connected to your home. Not only your home here, but from wherever you came from.
Oh.
Also, I tripled the dose of psilocybin,
Oh.
so that should work.
Okay.
And,
You're giving drugs to a kid.
dude, whatever, it's fine.
That's cat morality. It's fine.
It came from the earth, duh, it's natural.
It's
This is
fine.
my religious experience.
We already had Finnie drink liquor within, like, the first episode. It's
Yeah,
fine.
giving alcohol to a child is not the same thing as giving a child hallucinogens.
A drug is a drug is a drug. Finnie's...
I mean, yes, but no.
And as the water boils, you see that other than the rather mundane mushrooms, there is also something that is a incredibly verdant green that is starting to glow slightly as it heats up. And finally, the entire pot of tea is this vibrant emerald green, gently glowing.
So pretty.
And Licorice goes, and now we drink, and gently laps at her tea.
Finnie picks up the cup and takes a tentative sip, trying to see what the flavor of it is first, then gulps it down.
The tea tastes as you'd expect, bitter and savory.
As it warms your body, things start to shift. You see a verdant field covered in flora beyond imagining. Animals almost too graceful as they prance and prowl through the greenery. Then you are viewing a vast desert, a harsh place that seems devoid of life, though it is there if you look close enough. Abruptly, your view switches to a frost-blasted forest, the only living trees evergreens, with a grand and foreboding castle looming in the distance. Finally, you view a forest in a state of decay. Well, not decay exactly. Not as you watch time move at a rapid pace. Leaves changing from green to yellow to red, then drying and falling, only to regrow and repeat the process. In this decaying forest, you drift until you reach a small cottage, and through the open doorway, you see a satyr dancing merrily as his lover plays the pipes. The song ends, and the satyrs embrace each other, laughing, deeply in love. Some way, somehow, it feels like home. And then you snap out of it.
What the heck? What the heck?
And you see, sprouting out from around the wrist area, just kind of right out from your shirt sleeve, are very tiny greenish mushrooms that sort of radiate between this sort of glowing through the colors of leaves changing in autumn. So, a green to a yellow to a red to an orange kind of deal. And you realize that you fundamentally have now changed with this tea. And you feel like, maybe much like the ever-changing nature of whatever it is that you just saw, you too could change. So what do you turn into?
So Finnie feels very odd as his body starts to shift, and it slowly shifts into the form that his mother has, into a cat, but it's different. And the cat is slightly off. It has small horns, and its feet are cloven. And then as it shifts again, it shifts into the form of an owlbear, but again, slightly off with horns and cloven hooves. And with each shift, he turns into each one of his family members, but each a little different, and his eyes start to glow green as he comes back to his normal self, but his horns grow small mushrooms as his hair and clothes grow a light layer of moss, and his cloak flutters in a wind that no one else can feel around him, and he just gives off an aura of a faint glowing green, and that's what he turns into.
Hi everyone, C here.
And Bug.
Thanks for listening.
As always, you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at All Necromancers for art, music, and details on the show.
If you're looking for a way to support us other than following us on social media or reviewing us on Apple Podcasts, well, I'm releasing all of the music I've written for the podcast on my Bandcamp. You can find a link to that on our links page at bit.ly/allnecromancers.
We're going to be taking a 1-week break, and after that, we'll be releasing the 2-part All Goblin adventure.
We recorded it as a way of sorting through all of the problems that come with starting a D&D podcast, so the audio quality is questionable at times, but we couldn't resist sharing it with you.
During this time, we're also going to be uploading a bonus episode to our Patreon, where we'll do some above-table discussion about what it's been like to record the podcast so far.
You can also find that on our links page at bit.ly/allnecromancers. All that said, we'll be back in 2 weeks.
See you then.